At about noontime on Friday, members of the Committee for the National Minimum Wage began arriving for the fourth meeting of the committee since the suspension of the nationwide industrial action on Tuesday, June 4, 2024. Representatives of the four parties, namely the organized labor, the organized private sector, the state governors, and the federal government are all in attendance. After about 7 hours of meeting separately behind closed doors, the committee members filed out for another general meeting where each group is expected to present their recommendations.
At the level of our committee, we have reached near consensus, and it is our hope that by the time we get to the plenary, we will have a complete agreement.
This time around, the meeting continued for another 3 hours, and at the end of it, members of the committee briefed journalists on the outcome of their deliberations.
After a very wide consultation and with critical stakeholders, both the organized private sector, the organized labor, and representatives of government, we were able to arrive at a conclusion that 62,000 should be the national minimum wage that will be recommended to the president for further legislative actions to National Assembly when forwarded to them. And the labor is saying that they would like to have 250,000 as the national minimum wage.
We had to calm down. Initially we started from 615,000 naira, but we moved close to 150%, precisely about 146% from our initial submission. And today we are making a recommendation of 250,000 naira to Mr. President for onward transmission to the National Assembly. So that is where we are today.
Earlier in the day, the Nigeria Governors Forum had issued a statement. Part of the statement reads, "The NGF holds that the 60,000 naira minimum wage proposal is not sustainable and cannot fly. It will simply mean that many states will spend all their FAC allocations on just paying salaries with nothing left for development purposes." End of quote. The Minimum Wage Committee, however, believes strongly that the 60,000 naira is feasible and sustainable.
For them to accept that and to bring that forward, including the organized private sector, for them it's sustainable because they agreed to it. So I believe that that's what they can pay.
Caution had been displayed all through, so that a figure that would further throw the country into confusion is not announced. This is because if any party goes into an agreement of a figure that it knows from its sources it cannot afford, then it's going to create another problem. But I thank God that all wisdom came together, and that the recommendation to Mr. President is going along the direction that you have just heard from His Excellency, the Governor of Imo State, who played a very critical role in mediating this process.
President Bola Tinubu had in January this year inaugurated the tripartite committee to negotiate a new minimum wage for workers. After 7 meetings, the committee met a brick wall as Labour rejected the last offer of the government and private sector to pay 60,000 naira minimum wage. The rejection culminated in a nationwide strike, which lasted for 24 hours. Negotiations later resumed on Tuesday, the 4th of June 2024, which has led to the agreement to send 2 recommendations of 62,000 naira on one hand and 250,000 naira on the other hand to President Bola Tinubu for consideration.